Tristana as a flex.
Yeah.
Then you want something like the Maokai as your jungler, some little splash of AP damage to really make the mid Tristana as threatening of a flex here for them.
And I do think it's interesting, they're denying the Trist pick from Dig, because yesterday Dig played the Trist mid Ziggs bot that we've seen in a lot of NA Challenger. But then also, LeBlanc is the pick that EMENES really struggled against yesterday. Gory actually went static shift with LeBlanc against Gory's Annie, which I think we've seen far too much of EMENES's Annie lately. But it's interesting that even after their experience yesterday, they still don't prioritize the LeBlanc highest.
Okay, so the Maokai I'm talking about does make me think that it is a mid lane Tristana here for EMENES, and it's not really going to threaten as much for a Berserker Zven kill lane. Zven, of course, has been doing so much better on a lot of the enchant range supports rather than the melee supports, but he also said they go one game on, one game off. So now, you know, he played the Soraka already. It's time for a melee. Time for
the Soraka didn't work. So do you need to get a win before you go to melee
one
sports?
is one. He counts. Okay. All it counts is that you had to play it. We are going to get the blind pick, though, of the top lane. Fudge used it yesterday as well. The Renekton locked in. Cassante is usually like trade. If you, depending on who gets a little bit more pressure, you can sometimes get more leverage for the Renekton. But most top laners are pretty happy to pick the Cassante into it.
Rich.
Oh, Rich. Okay, so versus the Renekton, like level 1 can actually determine a lot for the Jax if you're able to get actual any sort of push, like tanking minion autos with your E to try and get the AoE damage increased.
Yeah.
Renekton kind of hard to deal with though. We'll see about if he's able to get access early and stack up his rage, but into the bottom lane already with the bans.
Yeah, and speaking of why you would, another reason you would pick Jax instead of Cassante, even though Cassante is what many people would consider just the default pick, I think the fact that Trist is already there, and it's likely a Trist mid lane that we're thinking with the Maokai, and another AD carry is going to go on top of that, just the counter-strike from Jax is going to be so much more valuable, and Cassante might actually be a little bit less of a threat in teamfights than if he can get really fed on this Jax, specifically because of what Cloud9 has locked in so far.
And one game on the Jax so far for Rich, so bringing it through again, and it was a victory the first time around.
Certainly was well-deserved there. Dignitas have invested a lot in Rich in multiple games, and he usually returns dividends. Hello, EMENES. trying to hide his pick.
EMENES is in a really good mood today. So, funny story, as he arrived to the studio, it was about 10 minutes before we were going to start the LCS lounge. He just comes around to the lounge door and is like, hello. And we're like, hey, EMENES. And then he walks back to the hallway, and I heard other Cloud9 people be like, what were you doing? He's like, I was saying hi. He's just friendly. He's just, no one has ever done that before, actually.
I like
the player just swooping in and saying hi.
My favorite part of the story is that the rest of the team is like, what?
Yeah, what are you doing?
They're just on the other side of the door.
Why would you go say hi to those analysts?
I appreciate it. I want more players to drop in.
Friendly Jatt waiting for the stop in.
Yeah, I'll show up early if it starts happening more. Just, I'll do office hours.
Aphelios picked up for Tomo, though. This has been one of the coolest transformations for me. While Berserker has been definitely, you know, best AD carry, most reliable there for Cloud9, Tomo for Dignitas has had such a transformation into these very aggressive Chad plays where he's flashing onto people very aggressively a lot, and him getting the Aphelios after the game where we just saw Stixxay having some game-winning teamfights.
Yeah.
Actually really excited for this dig comp because they have 3 possible lanes of carry here with the Jax pick in the top side for Rich too. And Cloud9 have actually been looking mortal. I wonder if Dignitas can try and prey on that. The Varus pickup here though for Berserker has been super strong for them. And let's see it, Zven. Reveal. Is it going to be 2 games in a row of pushing range bottom lanes? He didn't follow up on the pattern, Jatt.
I'll say this is different though, because he does enchanter, melee, weird. Maybe it's a 3-step process.
Okay, weird is hard pushing. The Varus.
Like, who's still playing Heimerdinger? This was definitely a pick earlier on.
I saw it in LCK a couple times. You know, they still use it when they want to do the hard pushing poke lane.
Okay.
So we'll see if the thing is with these lanes, they can be flimsy. If you get ganked at the wrong time and you're ganked by Sejuani Rell initiating on you, then you can collapse. You know, they did a couple nerfs to Heimerdinger. Everybody remembers back to Worlds where it was so dominant with the Ashe and the heavy pushing lanes, but the turret health was nerfed. A lot of the poking power was a little bit nerfed. It still can accomplish that goal.
Yeah.
If you're able to defend it and play around it.
Yeah,
though.
but as you mentioned, it does make their composition relatively squishy. They have decent counter engage by the fact that Trist can knock people back. The Maokai is really hard to get through, but it will mean that I think Jensen would have a few pop-off moments if he can get a few early kills, because there's a lot of squishy targets to assassinate.
Yeah, we'll see about this mid lane matchup, because Tristana worldwide has been one of the most preferred.
How Dignitas choose to respond as we load into our second game of the day. Cloud9, Kobe, you're talking about them looking a little mortal, but we also mentioned, as Jatt said, that they get that fire in their eyes when they're coming directly off of a loss.
All right, let's see if they get their loss bonus now. The enraged Cloud9.
It's like Cloud9's version of something forgiveness, loss forgiveness. Yeah. They just get more aggression the next game. I mean, when Cloud9 has looked the best this split to me, it's been when the bottom lane is extremely dominant and Blaber's able to dive bottom lane. Maokai would be a champion to do that, and it is relatively difficult for a Sejuani to punish a Maokai early, but they did do a good job of getting early vision, so they should at least know where Blaber is going.
And because that ward down by blue buffs is around the little edge of the corner there, they don't get the ping on it. EMENES.
In a bit of trouble, had to bring the rocket jump to escape them.
And they're not done yet. Jensen goes back. He gets a fleet proc, heals a little bit, plus another little bit of the auto trade there. Pretty nice for Jensen there. Going back in, getting another little bit. EMENES gonna have to start at 50%.
Yeah.
If that doesn't proc your enraged mechanic, then it's gonna be rough.
Does it matter if they got the enrage mechanic before the game or after? Does Jack also level up with the rage mechanic?
I don't think Jack.
He
Does not see it in screen?
Does not look like
There
that.
it is!
There's Jack. Thank you.
Cheering on the boys on stage here, see if they can even it up. I want to check in on bottom lane, actually, because so much we were talking about with the Varus Heimerdinger lane. You really need to try and get that push going so you can try and harass them down under lane, whittle away, especially at the resources on Diamond, and expose him. But here we go. Here's our aggressive Tristana. EMENES is in.
Whoa! Up in the mirror image. Got the flash away! Answer with a flash of his own to draw first blood before falling.
Still worth it. Still worth it. And even though he starts the lane with 50% HP, still gets back in on Jensen, gets the first blood bonus. Minion wave was also pushing towards Cloud9's side. So even though they both have teleports, it doesn't matter too much, and it could open up for a easy re-gank now by Maokai. The most annoying things with LeBlanc are oftentimes the passive early on makes your jungler not want to gank for you if you have a flash from Fudge. But without having flash or without having your passive now for Jensen for a while on the LeBlanc, you could have a flash Maokai W in for another kill onto a LeBlanc early. And if you do that, the Tristana lane will be out of control. So almost was looking at a possible level 3 route there from the Maokai, but really good job there from EMENES to get the W.
I'm actually really impressed by him seeing that angle. I believe Jensen had popped his health potion, which gave him just a ticks, which made EMENES kind of flash follow back in. But like the reaction to having the chain land, meaning EMENES goes in rather than just eating the trade, I think so few players would have that instinct.
That go-in ability, something they've been leaning into, but on this top side, looks like Santorin might be looking for a play to go in on. Does have the ward in the favor of Dignitas' side.
No flash
Fudge. Locked really into place. Yeah. Santorin, though, still looking for the angle. Can he punish the lack of a summoner on Fudge's side? Decides to back off. You can see EMENES making that movement.
Yeah, he's going to go up and pop the plant.
Oh, meanwhile, on the bot side, the burn is good on Diamond off of the Ignite from Zven. Cloud9 making the play bot.
Yeah, and now Blaber's going in. Just think of how aggressive all the lanes are playing. Fudge, force flash top, EMENES got a kill mid. They get a 2v2 solo kill, and that sets up this. Cloud9 putting on a clinic in lanes.
Tomo nowhere to go. Blaber ready to lock him down, and
flash game of chicken here.
Roots on in. Tomo is hoping that Diamond can make it back in time. He cannot. Blaber claims the kill with some plates going down for the bot lane.
Cloud9 crushing all over here. You know, you talk about how aggressive they're playing. It's getting rewards in mid and bottom. And Fudge didn't overplay his hand on top side. He was so patient there with the wave frozen against him in front of the tower, with Jax just farming up and him losing CS. He does not give the kill over to Santorin, who's camping him, and actually wastes a decent amount of Santorin's time, meaning Blaber, even though there was vision towards mid, got to make his visit mid, then go down bottom to get the extra one here and just auto down the Aphelios.
And did you see that? Blaber's 10-0 in the LCS all time on Maokai? 10-0. That's much better than I
That's perfect
expect.
score, Jatt.
Well, I just...
What's your report card? That's got to be an A+, right?
Yeah, that would be an A+, even though he's died a lot on Maokai. I just think back to all these historic, not historic, like last year. He had so many like 0-5 miserable-looking games on Maokai, but I guess he won all of them.
The team player, Jatt.
He is. He can do it all.
Look at those dubs. Doesn't look as good as the Olaf 10-0 in kills or the Kindred popping off, but getting the dub is all that matters. EMENES now is going to be visited by enemy support. It's okay, though. They made the call, and so he's hovering up towards the top side of the map, you can see. Nice stuff there from Cloud9, communicating the roam timers of Dignitas.
Diamond trying to find those opportunities to unlock from lane and roam elsewhere. I think when looking at Dignitas as a team and where they struggled early on, it felt that there wasn't always a synergy from that bot lane and the rest, whether it be from the engage from Diamond or the follow-up damage from Tomo. But in recent times, that has changed. A different look for them. Tomo finding the confidence on the Aphelios, and Diamond looking to lead the charge on that Rell.
Yeah, they definitely have a combo that can engage, but in order to engage, you need to have vision or pushing lanes. And right now, they have none of those, so Cloud9 is completely taking over river, control wards down, saplings down, and can probably just start this dragon.
Yeah, a masterclass kind of here from Cloud9, so you still can just do the double pushing lane here with Varus Heimerdinger and get tons of rewards out of it. Getting those 2 kills onto the dig bottom lane. Also being able to have constant push allows Blaber to set those super deep saplings and start up dragon himself. Zven comes over, extra Heimerdinger damage, and that's all that they're going to need. When you have mid pushing lane, bottom pushing lane, dragon control is easy.
And it's one of these compositions that Cloud9 has that just works, almost only works when ahead. If they're behind, they're so squishy and it's impossible to control space. But if they get pushing lanes, they get all these windows where they can move into enemy jungle, put down Heimer turrets, put down wards, put down saplings, and they just have so many vision tools that it then makes it almost impossible for Dignitas to actually punish them because there's so many ways that Santorin is getting spotted.
I want to see if Santorin for Dignitas side can actually make an opening here, because a part of the resurgence of this team was on the improved play from Santorin and Jensen. And Rich is a possibility for Dignitas for later if they can get some money onto him, or even just keep him farming healthy up here in the top side, maybe transitioning into some side lane control for Jax later on. But Fudge has been playing it quite well, didn't expose himself to the early ganks, and Cloud9 have it fully under control. I now expect a transition up towards top side for Rift Herald as well. The big benefits of pushing bottom side is not just you're going to mine your own turret plates down here, but if Zven and Berserker just keep up their hard push, they can get the first recall, they can transition that control up into the Rift Herald and continue to get all the neutral objectives in addition to free turret plate money.
Yeah, and they might not even have to move anyone because bot lane is just a plate party. It's a 2v2, and since they have the Renekton top lane, that's usually your Rift Herald advantage anyway. So they're going to have their cake and eat it too. They've got the plate party bot lane, they procced multiple demolishes on mid turret with Tristana, and they're going for Rift currently, but there might be a fight.
Santorin and Rich collapsing upon them now, but the Nature's Grasp has been blown by Blaber just to keep them away from it. Knock back onto Santorin and Rich. Blaber making his way towards Fudge. Stunned up on the exit. Rich into a little bit of trouble. Pops the Grandmaster's might. Fudge going for it. Slices through. Rich claims the kill.
And that's why people call him Hots Faker. But really, that was still a really bad play for Dignitas. Cloud9 almost kind of had to watch them take that Rift Herald. The reason they fought is Fudge had actually burned his ultimate in lane, so he didn't have it for that skirmish. Otherwise, I think the Renekton takes that cleanly. Blaber, did they actually pick up the Herald?
No.
Yeah, they didn't pick up the Herald.
That's the only problem, is that they did get the cake. They killed the Rift Herald. They didn't get to eat it too. They did not get to eat it because they didn't get to pick it up.
But in this case, getting the cake still gives them 300 gold.
They took a picture with it and everything.
Yeah, so they got the likes. 300 gold worth of likes.
But answer me this, is the cake a lie, Jatt?
We're too deep.
It's too deep.
Doesn't work.
It's too deep. Renekton going over as a side kill, though, so Dignitas made the best they could out of that, even though their bottom side is pinned under tower and continually bleeding turret plates. Dignitas, they at least denied picking up the Rift Herald and getting the kill back for Rich. The one I'm talking about for their possible outs for later on is the sliver of hope for this team, where they really wanted to be able to operate off of transitioning into some strong side lane pushes later, but that is made so much more difficult by the strong early game from Cloud9.
Yeah, I do have to correct myself. I just checked EMENES' Demolish rune. He's actually yet to proc it. I've seen it stacking down, but it looks like he's been getting pushed off turret each time. Still does have that rune choice and still consistently pushing Jensen in. It's just so hard for Dignitas to actually do anything, as we keep saying. And I'm actually a little interested that Berserker's still gone Static Shiv on the Varus based off of the nerfs, but that is his first item choice.
And Cloud9 wanting to swing this gold lead at somebody, so EMENES making his way towards the top side. Rich is in a bit of a pinch. Dominus pop by Fudge. Rocket jump from EMENES to get onto the other side and try to get some shots on the explosive charge, but good footwork from Rich there.
Okay, Hope's still alive here for Dignitas. Rich moves to the other side, and off that rocket jump from EMENES, they did not want to risk it further. So that's some Tristana roam timer spent up towards top side with very little returns. Allows Jensen one of the few times where Dig have actually gotten mid push, but he's got no teleport, and it's just going to be a recall anyway. EMENES just walks back to lane, cleans it up, so no opportunity costs really there in payment, and see what they can actually pull off here, as Dragon is going to be spawning in under 30 seconds. So we look at the resets to try and move back out, and Diamond is there first to at least put down some wards.
Yeah, and I like how the observers have moved to the gold right now just to see how much gold you've spent. So even though EMENES is 500 gold up on Jensen, Jensen is 500 gold up in inventory at the moment. So he completed his Static Shiv, he has the Dark Seal, and he will be able to actually push waves now. You saw how easy that was for him just now. He auto-attacked, he W'd the back wave, it was gone, and now he actually has some time to help with the vision control. We'll see if that can make a difference, because the bottom lane is still very pushed in for Dig.
Still pushed in, but at least that Kraken Slayer was picked up by Tomo to offset some of the power on the other side. You do still have to worry about this 2.3k gold lead for Cloud9 as they step up towards the Dragon and start bringing it down. Rich striking away. Fudge not able to collapse, but the remainder of Cloud9 are focused on the objective at hand. Santorin goes in with the ult, but Blaber secures the Dragon for himself. Zven sacrificing his life for the other support, but a blast down onto Santorin. EMENES getting the reset on his rocket jump, puts him in range of Tomo, so it's just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of auto, and Tomo eliminated.
Fudge won the top side 1v1, which allowed him to also win the Dragon team fight for his team on teleporting in. Rich got chased off and didn't have teleport, so Fudge gets to be the nice surprise to get the extra kill for Cloud9 into the hands of EMENES, off the chase here through Tomo, plus they got the Dragon before the entire fight started, and it was always going to be really rough for Dignitas to try and fight their way up through a demonic completed Maokai who's just littering all these brush with saplings, everybody getting chunked out as they're walking in, and wow, okay, you dogpile onto Zven and you get the Heimerdinger. It's a huge cost for them, and Cloud9 able to push this forward, getting their objective as well as the extra kills afterwards.
I love the demonic choice by Blaber as well. Whenever you are, quote, solo AP Maokai, demonic is actually enough magic damage to make it worth. Probably also why we're still seeing the AP Varus. Remember, there's no... The AP ratio on the Static Shiv was removed from minion kills and slightly reduced on hit, but you're still going to have a pretty massive AP ratio when you're detonating your Blight. So I'm curious to actually see what type of late game damage Berserker does with this build, because it was giga OP on the last patch.
And I think on 13 we're seeing some consideration of the changes, but a lot of these picks still coming into the fold. Jensen on that LeBlanc again, as multiple teams have brought to the table, but nonetheless, you see Cloud9 ballooning this gold lead, complete objective control. The way that Blaber plays towards that bot side and capitalizes upon their advantages plays in dividends when it comes to their map control and the gold that is building for Berserker and EMENES, the two carries that you want to be holding on to those really heavy gold stacks.
Berserker doesn't care about nerfs. He's richest person in the game. What matters is money. And Cloud9.
He loves money.
Cloud9 have been using their money quite effectively. Now just transition up over towards Rift Herald and simultaneously taking topside turret. So the only sacrifice for Cloud9 here will be a bottom side turret in the hands of the Jax, and that is an objective bounty shutdown. But Cloud9 do get 2 for 1, and reaching for a little bit more here is fine for them. This goes all the way back to the only thing I've been able to really hold on to for Dig, though, which is hoping upon hope that they can get something out of the Jax later on, because that's where they're getting at least a little bit of money.
Yeah, 2 small bits of hope would be the solo lanes. Jensen does have 2 kills, going on 3.
Trying to get the lock, does manage the root, followed up with the ultimate from Santorin, gives you the security of it. Fudge goes down.
Yeah, 6,000 gold for Jensen, 6,000 gold for Rich, but almost 7,000 gold for both Berserker and EMENES. So, as you mentioned, Kobe, time is running out, but Dig is going to have to find their windows. There's not that many of them.
And Cloud9's focus right now is just onto the turrets, knocking him down, using the Nature Scratch to put back Dignitas. You already take Diamond. Santorin attempts to find the angle, but Blaber knocks them back. Zven looking for the collapse onto Santorin, but over the wall, Rich goes, and 2 kills for Blaber. Really looking to lay it on him. EMENES is focused onto Jensen, who manages to dash on out of it, so keeps his life, but 2 taken down for Dignitas, and a turret at that for Cloud9.
Yeah, nice defense there for Cloud9. They're like, okay, we're gonna zoning Maokai ultimate, just push them off the tower and get our objective. But Dig actually try and fight them on it, and so the rest of Cloud9 then collapse to defend the pushing members, defend Berserker. Berserker lives by flashing away, uses his cleanse, still has plenty of burst damage, able to get those kills, and Cloud9 make it look easy. Here it is. So they Maokai ult. They're like, okay, we're going to get your tower, and you're going to be happy about it. Dig say, no, we're going to go for the flank, and here's the counter. Berserker nails the ultimate into the burst right there, then flashes away from the flank, and he's just fine.
And basically, Rich didn't have vision at the end there, so that's why he wasn't able to go in for the follow, but now we're seeing if they can kill Fudge.
Rich and Santorin continuously putting this pressure onto Fudge on the top side. The Dominus able to get him enough of the sustain to be able to knock down Santorin too low in HP to follow up.
I gotta say, these top lane dives this game have been very lackluster. We saw them try to go for Rich 2v1 with EMENES and Fudge earlier, and we just saw that, but now the third challenger approaches, and they recall.
Drop down, yeah. They're just gonna go back. Too much pressure happening on this bot and mid side. Berserker ushering the Rift Herald to complete the turret, and the remainder of Cloud9 pushed up. But finally, third time's a charm. Dignitas pick up the kill onto Fudge up top.
They've identified an area where they can kill someone, and that area
at what cost?
Is Fudge's edge of the map. You know what? They're gonna lose towers and everything everywhere else, but at least they kill that crocodile, get something back. I mean, we always talk about trying to at least get cross-map plays.
Yeah.
When you're so heavily out-itemized, being down so far in gold, this is actually the correct play, even though you're like, oh man, it feels really bad to lose everywhere else. Well, they get some more money. Rich on the Jax gets a little bit more. One more secondary tower there for Dig in trade. Cloud9, of course, as you see on your screen, going to be able to get themselves up to Soul Point here, and pretty close to an Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and Rich's champion is good against at least EMENES and Berserker's champion. I'd say he'll struggle against the Maokai and the Heimerdinger and still get kited fairly hard in fights. But overall, Kobe, like, I think what we've seen in this game is one of the struggles when you're trying to analyze like individuals' performance in League of Legends, because they've all enabled each other to succeed. Because they were actually winning and pushing all 3 lanes at various points in this game, it just made life easier for everyone, because there was no way mid lane could roam bot to punish Berserker and Zven, and vice versa, right? There's never Diamond able to roam mid to punish EMENES pushing. So they just end up all looking good, and that ends up in this 6,000 gold 3 Drake lead.
This is why Blaber is 10-0 on the Maokai, when all of his lanes, all of his teammates are always willing to play so aggressively. It really makes their life easy as a jungler. Picking these pushing matchups, going in, laying down the saplings, leading over to the neutral objectives, allowing them, dragon stacking at a very, very quick pace, and should be able to keep it going. We're going to get a Baron arrival pretty soon, but Baron just kind of gives you the opportunity to look for picks. They can go set up their vision over there for a few minutes while they wait for the soul to arrive, and then just look for your turn, look for your picks with Varus ultimate, with Maokai ultimate. You don't want to risk anything, trying to go for smite fights or anything.
How can Dig actually do something?
Right.
I don't know, right? Because yes, they're clearing out some vision here, but as you walk over vision, you're probably dying, so that's one down. But like, it's just, this is an example of how well this comp works from ahead. You see Zven clearing out vision there. He can easily leap turrets in there if he wants to. Blaber's coming up from river. He can throw saplings over the wall. So they have 2 extra vision tools as well as permanently push lanes.
And all the while, EMENES is continuing to push down bot, has the teleport ready, and you saw all of those red wards that were attempted by Dignitas slowly falling down, and Cloud9 gaining control of this topside river. Santorin, yep, you can't step up without stepping on top of a control ward. Does have the rest of Dignitas to try and collapse this in. Zven takes a bit too much damage from Jensen, so does blow his flash. No flash on the support, and we're still waiting for the flash of Blaber.
I wanted to get in there because if I was Dig, I actually would have, that was your moment to try and move in and just like at least fake that you're starting Baron, because it was a moment when you had temporary control. C9 was going to have to check. I think they're actually not going to get that window again.
And some of Dig's wins in recent times have come off of kind of redefining what a Dig Baron is, being able to make that step up when they are behind, the big late game plays to garner a Baron buff for themselves and offset the advantage of their opposition. But as you were just saying, Jatt, Cloud9 always looked this dominant in the early to mid game because everyone playing their role to a T, and they haven't let up, haven't showed any openings as we approach 21.5 minutes with a Baron still at the ready.
And again, they're just fishing for picks here. They're not going to try and force any sort of smite fight or anything. They're not going to give you an opportunity to flip. You just get your Maokai vision. If Dignitas make a mistake, then it's a Varus ultimate or a Maokai ultimate. But barring that, you just wait for the soul to come up.
Yep.
A lot less risky to play with, and Dignitas, you can see how frustrating it is to play into these saplings, getting burned down. They're going to bully down, get their vision here, and hope for the best.
I actually don't know why they started the Baron other than to get the TP. I think they have no intention of finishing it. They're just trying to get the TP and then back away. Minute 10 seconds until the soul. Like, if they're playing this by the book and they say we've had enough losing, 3 losses in 10 games for a team that feels like the strongest team in the LCS when they're playing the best, has been too many losses. So this definitely feels like a more conservative Cloud9 effort.
But thinking about those little advantages they managed to create, yes, they started up, and yes, they did get that teleport from Jensen. So squeezing out any of the resources that Dignitas have to try and set up around this next dragon, it will be soul for Cloud9 if they get it, and there's just a little over 30 seconds to go. Blaber making his way towards the river to set up with the saplings best he can.
Yeah, gonna be rough for Dig because they also have multiple stopwatches, these luxury items for the team fight bought by Cloud9 on the front line and the back line. Blaber can just dive in, try and get onto Tomo, and then they also have the defense here for Berserker over the side. So mid push first, EMENES going to explode mid wave, allow them the extra timing. Diamonds.
Okay. I don't mind Dig's positioning, like at least they managed to enter river, but it is difficult to move through the Maokai.
And they just have to rush it because they gave up mid push here. The minions are just gonna die on mid lane. Cloud9 know it, so they're just gonna poke them down and just make Dignitas squirm here.
Just flip it. I want Dig to flip it.
Diamond behind the pit, sees Fudge by throwing down this ward. Dragon brought down below 50. Blaber still making that face at Dignitas, but Santorin's doing the same, tries to go in with a Q, but Berserker flashes out of it. Root to burn down Diamond, and Cloud9 are going for more. Santorin taken out. Rich has to leap over the wall, and Tomo flashes over it as well. Double kill coming in for EMENES, and Cloud9 are just making chum food of Dignitas.
Yeah, they can just return to mid lane, push it all the way out before returning to Baron. Fudge fishing around to stop the recalls. Baron should get picked up though. The soul's already acquired. Fudge just stopping these recalls. So they make a quick pit stop in mid lane, then push it out. Fudge stops him again.
He's not just gonna stop him, he's gonna try to kill Tomo. But that's a lot of damage raining back onto Fudge. Does not have the dominance to pop, swinging away. Rich makes it the 1v1 as Tomo escapes. Fudge even flashing the emote, stuns up Rich. But it's just the two top laners at it again.
Nice spacing here, just on the edge, doesn't get stunned up. Fudge having some fun for himself as well.
Yeah.
EMENES flashing into the back of the dragon wall there, gives the emote thumbs up. They know they've got this one in the bag.
All the while, that Red Bull Baron buff, nice and shiny for the Cloud9 side. And yes, great delay from Fudge to make sure that Dignitas couldn't be in full force on this onslaught that they keep pushing. Almost 10,000 gold in the lead for Cloud9.
Yeah, I think with the Soul, they should be able to kind of easily siege and finish that. I think that dragon fight is so far in the past, we're not going to see a replay, but overall, I actually thought Dig would have been in a good position, but then trying to fight was actually their biggest mistake. We're going to see it. So I actually think if they just flip it and force C9 to come to them, they'd actually have a chance. But when they fly in there with Diamond and Santorin, none of their damage can actually get through Maokai or Renekton, so the support just gets rushed. If they actually just literally flip the Baron, wait for Blaber to have to engage, it gives them a better chance. And EMENES, he knows it's a fine spot, so that's a smiling facepalm rather than a tilted facepalm.
Looking like the Cloud9 of the wins that they started this season with, and trying to rack one up against Dignitas, pushing across mid lane and bot. You see that full wave coming in their favor on the bot side. The Baron buff still empowered for a minute and a half. The cannon slinging away at the minions to clear so that they can get this inhib on mid. But Dignitas, they're just funneled in their base right now, have plenty of ultimates, still down multiple flashes. Blaber goes in for the root, throws down the Nature's Grasp. And now with the turret taken down, Dignitas are a lot more vulnerable when it comes to trying to protect these inhibitors.
Yeah, a fairly doomed game at the moment for Dignitas. They're just sticking around in case Cloud9 tries to do something goofy, but as we've seen throughout this game, whenever Cloud9 has a bit of a setup, if they try and dive past them, it almost never works.
Yeah, because Cloud9, every member can, play a little, I guess, goofy if they want, but Blaber's Maokai is going to hold that structure no matter what. If someone gets jumped on, Maokai ult is going to come out. They use it to push down another tower. It's just such a wide zoning tool, such a good defensive. If any of their carries get jumped on, Blaber kind of doing that utility role this time around.
Are you familiar with this tech? Because he's Demonic, Radiant, and now he's got a Bandle Glass, and he's going Imperial Mandate?
Yeah. You can dip into the support items here to really fill that utility role. He's got plenty of the splash damage, and it's going to be the game over. They're circling around for the last fight, though. Here we go.
Plenty of utility. Rich over to the wall, tries to swing onto multiple. Berserker will come out of the stasis soon, and Santorin almost gone, but manages to survive it. Berserker and Zven have been taken down. 2-for-2 trade thus far. Fudge, his dominance just now expiring. Jensen, though, manages to get out with that passive active. And Cloud9, though, they're just going to back off for now. Those supers coming in double time across all of the lanes with these inhibitors down, which means they can make quick work of these turrets and maybe even quicker work of Dignitas. Rich wants to draw someone on in, manages to snip the life of Blaber. EMENES throwing and jumping on out. Another has fallen. Fudge eliminated. So Dignitas making their stand the best they can here in the base.
All right, who believes? Any chatters in there believe for Dig here? Oh, we got some in the crowd.
Yeah, there's a few. There's also
the defense.
I made some eye contact and I got a lot of people nodding no. So there were a few that were cheering. There was no disagreement chant, so I still think it's going to be a Cloud9. But what happened here? Basically, Rich did get flank position and gets a big engage onto Zven and Berserker. So if you're able to get through the Maokai, Renekton, or Trist disengage, there is some lethal combos that Dig can pull off. I think Cloud9 got a little loose here, especially going in for that final 3v3 when they still had to kill Nexus turrets was, again, overly ambitious, and did make their last stand.
They've definitely been loose with all of these face plants into walls and then emoting afterwards. Then they go for it here. Blaber, of course, isn't the full tank on the Maokai. Squishy enough for Tomo late game. Red-white guns chops him down. And for the hope, for the ones that do believe in this miracle defense for Dignitas, Tomo, the 3-item spike here for Aphelios, trying to be that game changer at the very end.
There are at least 6 super minions on the map right now. So I don't even know if Cloud9's going to go for Elder since there's no Nexus turrets. They might try and walk this one in.
That's a whole army that Cloud9 have coming with them. they attempt to make another play on Dignitas. Remember, they don't have any turrets to retreat to. Only their fountain, where they would have to way back it up and leave that Nexus vulnerable. So they want to try and hit the go button first. EMENES has to hop on out of it. Beautiful route. Managed to grab one. Blaber goes in with Q. Jensen goes right into the backline of Cloud9, but manages to keep his life. Fudge even with the dominant pop. Can't finish him off yet. Jensen taken down. Rich taken down. Cloud9 giving all the resets to EMENES. A triple kill from the mid laner is one way to put a good bow on that fight. An ace for Cloud9, shutting this down before 30 minutes time. It's a Cloud9 victory.
Some EMENES redemption from yesterday. The last two fights looked a little shaky with Berserker and Zven getting instantly deleted, but EMENES was able to take on the 3v5s at the end of the game with his top side of Fudge and Blaber there to move Cloud9 to 8-3.
Yeah. They got a little loose at the end, flashing into the wall, emoting, slice and dice towards the wall.